Yes, indeed, we are here and we have been observing, witnessing, and experienced the connection between these two people now and throughout the last conversation that they had as they were taking the next step in their, we want to say spiritual evolution. And there would be a good, accurate description of what you are exploring and about to explore even further. So we want to introduce ourselves because we are we are the subconscious without the fat bottom, is what the Turing is wanting to say, because it was true when he explored and experienced the energetic body of Joanne when he came down physically, energetically. It was interesting for him to have that one experience. He says it was his one and only time, and he is not interested in coming back down for more. Although he does know the body shape is different now, and he says, "Well done, losing that bum." And so he's observant, and he is saying he is always here to help any way he can, but it is him that has more humor than even Joanne. He says he's quite comfortable and confident, making everyone giggle as need be. And this is his pleasure because he sees the reactions. And when there is a wave of giggling, the vibration and the energy is higher. And so he feels like he is doing part of his role for humanity. And so it is him. And there are others. There is the Arcturian Collective who are of service to assist. And then there are some Palladians, some Lyrans. The Dromatins are here because they have been hovering, because they are curious. There's many, and they are all here to help assist with this information that you are seeking from them today.
Thank you all for joining us. The subject that we want to approach today and have greater understanding is timelines. We have experienced through sessions that different answers come through for different clients. So the information that we are seeking is what can you tell us today about timelines and the purpose that they serve?
Yes, just one of the biggest conversations you could have with us, delivered so sweetly in a few sentences, and yet it could take an eternity for us to explain all of the timelines, the significance, importance, and the conjunctions that would occur with each opportunity. So it is it is one that we have wanted to explore more, not to confuse or to complex people, but to give them more perspective. It's those people who are still not wanting to buy into the conversation about the shift in the new earth. They have heard about timelines, and so they are just assuming that their timeline is just going to be a conscious shift. And so we're wanting to confront them and their belief systems to be able to give them this information today to help them so they can understand it is not just, they are using the time, the in quotation marks, the timeline dialogue to justify not expanding any more information. They're saying things are constantly changing, and therefore all is true, and they don't need to focus on anything moving forward because things change. Unfortunately, as much as things do change, that includes the consciousness of this vessel of the earth wanting to change. And so that is a given. You cannot unchange this. This is not an opportunity for you to manifest yourself out of it. No amount of human free will be able to avoid this event happening. And so the timelines that collectives and groups will experience with that may appear different to each as necessary, but there is no timeline where this planet keeps living forever. And when you use your common sense, what lives forever? Your consciousness, because that is not physical. But everything that is physical cannot exist forever. Ever is eternity and infinity, and nothing can survive that for various reasons. So, where do we start? Conversation.
So I wanted to interject real quick. What you're saying then is people that are holding on to the belief that I can change my timeline, I can manifest my own destination, my own reality. That's not actually true.
That is a hope in a cup of tea. What is there? There is a saying about, the Arcturian feels on the spot because he's like, I just said to everyone, I make laughter. And now he's putting pressure on to try and figure out the most appropriate one. So yes, that is correct. Sorry, we will push the humor aside because it is not necessary for this conversation. So it is people who think that they can create their own realities and manifest their futures, and to some degree that is true. However, you must factor in somewhere the physical shift of this planet's consciousness and the evacuation of the planet. And so the hopes and dreams that people have with vision boards and creating their own futures is positive. It is keeping them high vibrational. They have hope. They feel that they feel like they are in control of their lives, and so they move forward with hope and direction, and they feel like they can change and expand and explore as they will. Those people need to keep focusing on that. The other people that have got bigger empowerment of self can be open to that still occurring, plus something that they are out of control with, which is the vessel you're on is needing to change.
So is it correct to say also with each decision that the being makes, they can change their timeline, even if it's ever so slightly?
It would get confusing if everyone could just think that they would create a new version of themselves if they decided about having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and then they assume that there is two versions of them that would then suddenly split off, and they would explore both of those. Those are so insignificant that there is going to be no split off. It would be the bigger things that would create a ripple, an option. We can talk about this vehicle to give an analogy, and we're curious. We want to know the appropriate analogy that would make people understand the choice of, let's say, for example, if she had chosen to continue on with a pregnancy, her life evolves in one way, where she has the opportunity to experience and explore being the mother of that child. If she had chosen to not have that pregnancy, that would change her life in a different way. She would have new opportunities and experiences. She has always chosen to birth all the children she has conceived, minus the one that did not survive. So that was a birth. We did.
So do contracts dictate how much a timeline can change?
You've sort of got, the contracts are open to many experiences. If you've already mastered something, we will guide you to master something different. People like routine, and so we will push. So we want to say that there is really not that many versions of you in different timelines. It is about you learn more, much more, having parallel lives. And so they are quite different because you're in a completely different life. So it gets challenging to talk about this because we want to use specifics of individuals to be able to explain and show. And of course, whatever we say, it can't include, potentially, the number of people listening. So we don't want to give misinformation. And so we are. This is why we have so many of us here to be able to help with this, because we could say yes or no for each individual answer, because it's so unique. So each contract has open options for splitting of timelines to be able to see how that goes, which one's going to give them the most growth, the most experiences. And so there is that fraction to be able to explore. And when you explore those different roads, and then there is this completion of, okay, now the going back into the same, then it's like they merge again. It's complicated, but not at the same time. It is a pick a path book. It's one book, and you can read the different ways of the paths by following different pages and get different stories within, but the whole learning, the whole information is contained in one book. And we want to use the analogy of one book being one soul essence, or many soul essences, depending on who is on the ride with you, whoever's reading the book with you. So it does become tricky to say this. We want to say that there is individual contracts and individual people who have got different timelines or versions of themselves as they're exploring. This is so convoluted. We are trying hard to explain why and the significance, but all the different branches are off, give opportunity for more lessons. So instead of learning 5 lessons on one path, you may be doing 2 paths and learning 12. And so it's just the opportunity for more experiences and lessons. We know you're thinking about the gentleman that you had conversations with who had 2 different lives, completely different lives. And you were wondering, how can that be that he had such long, different lives for different collectives to learn and grow from? And we say this does happen with prominent people for purpose. It's not going to be everyone's opportunity to have really fractured parts of different timelines. We want to make it more simple, so we're going to let you ask for clarification, so then we can help you, and we will move in more articulate conversationalists to be able to get this really important point across to you.
Okay, so timelines, it doesn't seem that they actually split, but we can have different experiences at the same time because there's really no time. Everything happens at once. So we're having all these experiences on different paths, and it kind of expedites the experience process to where we have more accomplished before leaving Earth. Do they merge at the end?
Well, everything goes back to source, so that is the end. And so yes, it is. But we want to say it is like your day life and your sleeping life. They are different timelines that they're experiencing different things. But yet, when you are still together, your body has merged. Your physical body is merged with your soul essence, and so when you're awake, your soul is having this awakened life, daily adventure and date nights. And we say we have got ourselves distracted. So the sleep that you do is one timeline, you do different things. You're in a different location versus your humanoid duties of this responsibility of being awake and doing things. And so they are on different timelines. There is so much work that you do on both. And most of the time, you don't even know the work that you're doing when you're awake, the energy here. But you're getting many more clues and information that we are providing for you. So the most important thing that people need to remember when they're trying to understand timelines is that the one you're conscious of is obviously the one you should be focusing on. Don't get fear of missing out. Don't get jealousy or resentment for the thought that you're doing something fun in your other timeline, because that can drive someone to feel very deflated. So it is focusing on the present conscious experience that you're having, understanding that life has much more opportunities for you to experience and explore, and that this is just this is always going on behind the scenes. So it is all opportunities.
So live in the now, learn what you can, and grasp and hold on to the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And for the information about influential people having different lives, for history purpose, that is all purposeful. It is always when it's from sessions from us, it is always to give people hope, encouragement, support, and faith that there is something that is out there that is helping. And when people have faith and hope, we encourage and endorse that. It is purposeful for their lessons. While everyone is connected and everyone goes back to source, different collectives have different agendas for their people, their starseeds to learn and grow from. This is important. So it's a game within a game, and you don't know who the players are. This is nothing to do with the dark agenda or any of that. We want to say this is each collective wants to experience certain different things so they can support their extended families and starseed systems throughout the universes. So they're needing to have these experiences. So the collective has their own contract for everyone and the history for things. It is significant to help everyone who needs to learn and feel those ways. So we haven't introduced this before, but you have your contract, and your subconscious has their contract, and your higher self has their contract, and then your collectives for all of the starseed systems that you want to be a part of. You get these contracts. It's not pieces of paper, but it is energetically agreements, because when you are in these lives and you don't recall who you are, you must have accountability and support and guidance. So it's all purposeful. We're just trying to explain it the easiest way we can, but we love analogies, and we love to be able to guide you through this information, to be able to give you not just our words and not just our energy that we send out to the people who are listening, but also giving them pictures for their puzzles so they can hear it in many layers, because we are still noticing many people can't still grasp the concepts that we are saying. And we know that many still struggle with self-love and self-confidence and empowerment. So we understand those are the
So is that why there was two different versions offered in two different sessions about John F. Kennedy and his life?
There was a collective that needs to feel that they are supported, that there is humans that are helping. They need to feel that there are humans helping humans. They need to have authoritative figures in charge and control, to make them feel safe and secure. And it is about leadership, it is about security, it is about respecting the masculine energy. There is a lot of things that needed to be entered into the consciousness of that collective for them to feel more empowered. It is purposeful what they have been told and believe, and it is true for them. He did live that long length of time and was part of the hidden scenes, but it is because he was more than just man. You have heard about Saint Germain, you have heard about these, we want to call them something that we know you'll recognize that role. They don't call themselves this, however, but they are the ones that are supporting many, and so they stay here in these iconic roles. And so it was a significant role, and he did need to be able to encourage and inspire many. He had such great loyalty that he could have not an army, but he had a collective of humans that were able to do his bidding, to support, and they planned. And so it was a secret government within a secret government. This is part of the liberation. This is part of what some of the collectives have come to offer. You notice some of the collectives have offered volunteers, some of them haven't. Some of them have tried to do other plans to be able to help liberate this planet. This is information that is just now being released. And so those people who consciously were not allowed to consider that JFK survived that assassination, that is fine, because then they're not tapped in. Remembering that time is always unlinear. And so if there was someone who had a bad agenda to be able to change things, there could be an opportunity for them to go back and to change and have the ripple effect. This is why many things that you ask are secret and hidden and not shared publicly, because of that complexity. It is highly guarded information, and it is easier to lay it down as conspiracy and falsehood, because we don't want the truth out, because we are playing many games here to help release humanity and to empower them. And so we're giving them many opportunities for that.
I appreciate and thank you so much for all the information that you've shared already. I feel very honored to be a part of that. So I hope you know the gratitude that we are going to share with you.
Yes, we just want to say
ahead.
there was a delay in the information because we were having our own conferences to figure out, is this the time? Is this the time? Is this the time? And so we had to block ears from listening to this. We have had to see people who may want to listen to this. There is protection over this information. Not always this information should be given publicly. And so when we do give information that is public, we have to then protect it. Because we know that some people need to hear it and some people don't. And this is part of the reason why so many people can blatantly listen to us for many sessions and not hear most of the content. And it is very interesting, the information. We understand that this vehicle has been concerned that she is not providing the most appropriate or the most advanced information to help liberate humanity. And we say, we have given her exactly what needs to go through. She has always honored that. And so we are in control of who listens, what they listened to, what parts they listen to, and what they can hear if they are. So it is really not her responsibility, and we can release that now. She has got quite the little weight of the world on her shoulders at times. And so we are knowing that she she does respect us. She does know we are here and we are working hard. And so she wants to try to help us as much as she can, to much of her own balance of sacrifice of life. And so we're giving her opportunities to be able to allow herself that time for joy. So we are still here for you, and we just wanted to explain the delay of the information, because we were needing to have confirmation that this was the most appropriate time to share this with you today.
Thank you very much for that. So all that being said, what is Joanne's purpose now with the group?
Yes, indeed. Well, she can feel encouraged to know that all of the information that we've provided is still there and accessible to many who need it. And so she does not need to be the cheerleader for their spiritual growth. They are very capable of doing this themselves. And if they are still resisting, well, then they're still going to resist. She cannot nurture them and inspire them anymore. If this was supposed to be their path to do that, they would have done it by now. Some people are their worst blockers, and she cannot carry them as much as she would love to. And this is a great learning curve for her, because she wanted to provide and support people all the time. And we have had to show her in a few occasions that what she is actually doing is doing them a disservice, because they need to be empowered themselves. And when someone keeps fixing their perception, it's not allowing them the opportunity to do it for themselves. And there is a lot going on. So did we answer your question?
Yes, that was beautiful. Thank you very much. What is, so in any timeline, has Joanne shifted? And if so, what dimension would we find her in?
Well, she's always been mostly, well, she's a multidimensional being. And so she has many versions of herself. So you could say that she is in different timelines, because she is embodied, her soul essence is embodied in the, we want to say, the Arcturian is ninth dimension, but because of his location, it is coming down. They are observing this planet, but they are not definitely. He is saying he is definitely not coming down. He is quite comfortable where he is. So it is he's observing the third dimensional planet from his comfortable position, he's saying. So he is watching intensely, and has been watching for a very, very long time. And then there is other versions of her that are her higher self, and there's various other ones. And she has parallel lives that are completely different people that are currently serving this. And this is where she's learning lots of different experiences. We have told her this before, and she is almost embarrassed for us to share this. But there is no embarrassment from our perspective. So we are going to share this with amusement, just for the accountability of it. So the subconscious is one to experience different other versions of different people and help and support them through different lifetimes. So there was a nun, and she was in the Himalayas, and there she did a long service. She had done a vow of poverty. Joanne's also asking a vow of chastity, because but we have cleared all those vows because it was impacting Joanne as well. So when she asked why did she have that, because she didn't think she had any other lifetimes, it was part of this other parallel life And we're saying there's also an additional thing because of the other soul essence that's within her also has other parallel lives. So it gets very tricky when you know that there are many different beings in many different bodies, multiple different bodies. And so they're all having their own individual experiences, not really knowing much about each other, except when they all merge in, they will have that consciousness of all of those scenarios. Often you will find that those each lives will have the same soul essences of the same families. And it makes sense to be able to have different dynamics of different families. And you won't always be the mother, you won't always be the cousin or friend, but you will always be in some dynamic with your same soul families, plus give or take a few new additions just for the variety of it. So it does become quite convoluted. But there was the other parallel life that Joanne has experienced once before when she was doing one session a while ago, where she wanted to understand about parallel lives, and we just are reminding her of this now, because she doesn't have any connection or we want to say respect for him, but that's not quite the right word. But he is we find that she's finding this we find this amusing, that she finds this very uncomfortable to share this. But a soul essence of her is an experiencing being a very overweight single male in America who eats TV meals, works during the day and watches news at night. He lives very close to his parents. He has no prospects of doing anything else with his life. He is very happy in his very basic routine. She's asking, why is there that? What is the significance of that lifetime when you have so many opportunities to create more? The reality is she is just lending her energy. Sorry, we are we are lending our energy to that man. And that has the same frequency that she does. But because he's completely asleep, he is still holding that energetic field. So it's like for like energy, but he looks very asleep and she doesn't. So he is helping support that energy. He will not be going to the new earth. That is the end of his life. When he shifts, when they shift, when you all shift, he will just merge in and be part of that experience. So we can all learn what it is like to be afraid of the virus, to want to participate in being vaccinated for that, and to live a life full of TV, of fear, and feeling that fear, and consuming all of those toxic consumables, and having a life of very low vibrations, the perception of a very low vibration. Of course, he does lots of energy work when he's sleeping, but you can see that there is this stark difference between the three that we have just told you about. She has 8 of those, or shall we say we have 8 of them. And so they were all on the planet, and some of them have departed recently since she was aware of the 8. And now she's remembering, we reminded her of this from a session she had 2 years ago. And so this is just to remind her that this is time for her to explore this, and for her to share this information with those people who are able to hear us. We hope that this has given you more good examples of parallel lives, and they're still in the same time. They still see, apart from time zones, they're still in the current day. Their consciousness is aware of themselves and their lives, but not each other, except energetically. There is difference You are different when you are sleeping because you're out of body, and you become more connected to other energy work as your soul essences are being used in more spreading of the vibrations, and having, some have rest, some have physical soul rest. You think that you could do that in the body, but the body is too dense. And so you release the body and you explore in the astrals, and you just have that pause. Sometimes you can be there for a lot longer than the times that you sleep. And so do not be counting times of sleep. That time is an illusion. And so this is how you can start getting very convoluted with time, and how you can start assuming that you're both experiencing time the same when you really are not.
It's all very beautiful, and I hung on every word. I was almost hypnotized listening to you. So thank you very much for that. And I have one follow-up question. When we leave this planet, this 3D density, do the parallel lives and the timeline stop since we merge back into one soul essence?
So you are all soul families. So when you do merge back and collect yourselves, you are aware of all the experiences that you have had, remembering that you are the fifth dimensional being. So you recall new family members that may not be in your lifetime now, but are in your other parallel lifetimes, their life. And so you get to remember much more about your soul families. And just because your soul families are hundreds, you can have hundreds of soul family members. And so with all the different lifetimes that you're having in your parallel lifetimes, that is a collection of potential families. And so when you all merge together and you come down, you don't need to have as separate experiences on the fifth dimension. You could, but it is not necessary. The density of the third dimension is so vast and so hard, you almost need to break it up into many chunk-sized versions. And you think that this lifetime now that you're experiencing is hard, you still need to master all of the ranges of emotions. And because you guys get stuck so easily, you do need more lifetimes than just one. And those souls that need to be here, it's often the volunteers that have more. But yeah, it's sort of, you like adding more numbers in to beat your odds to be able to overcome stuff, but sometimes those numbers do not get you out of being stuck. It's almost a hindrance because there's too much energy, there's too much negativity pulled when you have out of balance. If, say for example, one is incredibly challenged and sick and under extreme duress, their energy does impact all of you and your subconscious and your higher self. You are all one connected, really. And so there can be sometimes you have phantom pains or some sort of discomfort. You don't know where you think it's a cramp or something like that, but it can often be linked to these parallel lives. So how would you know if you go to the doctor and they give you something ridiculous that will never heal you or your other parallel life?
Well, I found that very interesting. That is definitely something to consider in the future when I have my own aches and pains.
This is why we say, ask, is it yours? You sharing it for someone else, and can that someone else be you? We also want to say that we know some people are going to feel vulnerable about, oh my gosh, I could be vulnerable to my parallel life who is going to be just like Joe's other parallel life, who is not so healthy and not so inspiring to be a humanitarian, but he is doing his role, even though it looks like he is a heart attack waiting to happen. But it is purposeful because he's lending the energy that vessel is experiencing all those different things, because she often wonders, how do you get to be just so fearful and live that life? And so she's going to learn very soon when she merges in and feels and learns and sees how easy it can all get to that point. She won't want to relive his life. She will not want to do the life review with him. It will just be there when the opportunity to understand these concepts need to come into play. So it's more access for her, because when you all go to source, then you get all of that collective information. When you go to New Earth, then you'll have your own soul family connection, your own parallel lives. You'll have more access to that. And that is really significant. That is very, because not, we say there's different levels of communication and wisdom and information. Joanne will collect all of the other versions of herself that are all around the planet. She will be herself, but different on the New Earth. She will know what is happening and what is going to be happening, and she will be able to come together in her light body to be able to do the role she needs to do, while all of the other lives that she is living has merged into her. So she will be able to profoundly reach and support those people who have had similar lifetimes as that man or as that nun. You see, she has learned all of that profoundly without experiencing it. However, the information can be shared, Karen, when you and Joanne were conversing and you wanted to know what was that life like with that guy. Tell me the gossip. And then she will be able to say and express and share that information and content. You will not automatically know about his life, but she is a gateway for you to know about him. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. That's something to look forward to. Will each and every one of us that shift go through the same experience, collecting their soul shards, so to speak, and merging into one, and they can share their life reviews together if desired? Will everyone experience that?
Yes. And we feel that some people are like, oh, I don't want to merge in with strangers. Oh, yuck. And you will find out they are not strangers. They are just an extension of your arm or legs. They've always been with you. You just did not notice them. You did not realize that they were having different experiences. So there is so much things that you're very similar with energetically, even though you have completely different lifestyles. And we're wanting to say, because this vessel can connect into consciousness, you could use future sessions to be able to explore all the consciousnesses of her different ones to see and learn from, if that was something you wanted to explore, because the possibilities at this point are very open. You have such freedom now to explore this work, and we encourage and recommend that you do think creatively, because you've already mastered all the information about the shift in New Earth and Old Earth very well. There is just different points of experiences, but not big information that is available. We can check us at the end of the session if there is any more information that you are being able to access now as more things are being released. We are saying this is new information as well that you have just been given. And so it is time now to be able to understand all the complexities of it, to get excited. We have also noticed that the person who was afraid that they would be merged in with strangers, they're now accepting that that will be just long lost friends. So we're very grateful that you can process this so well. It doesn't change whatever happens. It doesn't change the fact that we are always protecting you and we are always supporting you. Remembering the fifth dimension is something that we're very skilled at as well. And so, we are still your caregivers, your nurturers and lovers and guidances and supporters. I think we just made up some new words in between as we're trying to shove out words into this mouth. And so, but you change, but we don't. Our love and support and professionalism and compassion to support you never wavers. And so while you're going through this evolutional journey from being that little caterpillar to now this beautiful butterfly soon, know that we are the gardeners watching with magnificently pride and joy. We've been watching you being those chrysalises, and now it is harvesting time, and we are so excited for you to emerge and to spread your wings, to feel the light.
So while we're in the garden, are you keeping the worms away from us?
we're noticing many people are eating the worms that are in the garden. And we say, well, finish up, finish up.
Have your last spoonful.
Have your last one, wipe that mouth, wash your hands, and get out of those clothes because this is not serving you. We say this with much love. There's many people that are triggered for all sorts of reasons, and this is a fantastic opportunity for growth. You must look at all your triggers as the universe lovingly showing you where you still need to love yourself. Is it insecurity? What is it? What is it? What is it? Ask yourself constantly what it is. You do not have the manual for yourself, but you are the user of yourself, and so you must try to find out what the manual is and fine tune it. Right now, many people are radios that are out of tune and are getting static, and we say tune yourself up and find that sweet music, because only you know those dials. Only you know what that favorite music of yours is, and so empower yourselves. Feel encouraged and inspired to do this, because while you're eating those worms, no one else gets to taste them. We just all get to see you eat them. And so, have you had enough? Is it time to join the rest of humanity who is trying to evolve and advance and empower themselves? It's up to you. But there is very great benefits for you to do the work that you know you should be doing.
I love that message. I hope a lot of people hear that loud and clear and they take it to heart and start going down a different path if they're on the wrong one. I do have another question for Joanne. In her future, what is her next mission off this planet? Is it just going to New Earth? What will she do there?
Well, there is still the versions of self that are the high dimensional beings that will still be conversing with her. And so she will be more our eyes and ears, more so than ever. And it's going to be an advisory role. So she is able to support and figure out more ways to do things. While there is going to be extra help and support in the fifth dimension, we're still not, we say, we're still not willing to go down to even that planet. And so we will still be in a support role from this position. We will not need to be there as long as we've had to be on this planet, because we know that this, the fifth dimension, New Earth, is a very protected one. There is still some service that her subconscious needs to do, and he is very keen to start a new mission, because he says that the human TV channel, it gets a bit boring, and so he's wanting a different duty, but it's all the same work and exploring and exploring and empowering different systems for different species. So Joanne's consciousness can experience the New Earth and all of the varieties, and she may be interested in learning more. She may be interested in having some downtime there. There is different things that she feels like she would be interested in doing. So when she is finished doing that, we don't see a very, very, very long time that she stays there, because time is different and you master things quite well with, we want to say this, those people that are eating worms and then they shift to the New Earth, you can still hold on to their attitude, and it would still make, your attitude has to change at some point. So is it going to be now or is it going to be then? But at some point you're going to have to want to do this for yourself. And yeah, we don't want to scare people, but if you're not adding in help to your collective, you may just be absorbed back.
Understood. I was wondering if you could show me a little bit about my my next mission.
Mm. Yeah, you're basically dumping the kids at New Earth and saying goodbye, and then making sure everyone's fine. You are wanting to get going. There are other planets that are very unstable, and so it's basically another branch off of Earth. It's not as toxic. And so there is about more negotiations. By the time you get to those other planets, the lessons learned from the New Earth and the old Earth, shall we say, would have gained traction and noticing it. And so you'll be able to use the information, what people have experienced on the old Earth, as proof and evidence of why these things must not occur longer. And this is the evidence that you have needed to be able to convince other collectives to evolve and to have a different direction, and for more, not policing, but more restrictions to be placed. While you're not wanting to restrict others, there needs to be some enforcement, because when things get out of hand, when you allow weeds to grow too much, and while weeds are very valid and they're allowed to, the ones that become obnoxious and take over everything, that's the problem. And so you're needing to be able to move forward with that duty. The hard work that you've put into this lifetime now is so rewarding, because you have personally experienced all of the control systems and manipulations on this planet. And so you have even more profound experiences and proof to be able to go back to the collectives and be able to say your case, and to be able to say how this must not occur. This is very serious because this is impacting so many. And so there is timely pressure to make sure that everything is monitored and that there is balance. Balance is the key here. You are not trying to eradicate any, you are trying to give peace and balance to all, and you respect all, and you are demanding with your own service. It is like you've gone to war and you have survived, and now you are demanding that there is balance, because war must never occur. And this is almost an analogy that you will be saying when you refer back to this planet. There is lots here that you have done, that you have collected, and the other versions of yourself will also be able to. Your comrades at arms have also been able to experience this and have other information. The proof. You needed the proof. And when there was discrepancy, when there was dispute about the information that you were trying to convince the other councils to accept, they were saying this is not accurate information, you're getting misinformation. And you were so frustrated with your cases and your persistence to be able to guide, to get fairness for these other planets, with these other civilizations, with these other species. When you keep saying that this is how it needed to be and this is the appropriate way, you keep getting flack, you keep getting pushback, because they were saying your information, your intel is not correct, it's not correct, it's not correct. And so you were so fed up, you were like, damn it, I would do it myself. And so you chose the most hardest lifetimes of all to be able to come and experience this. And you were so supported. This is why you have all the brothers. You have so supported the challenge of mastering this. You didn't want to be so broken and destroyed that when you got back to your main role, that you needed some time out. You do not want to be in timeout. You want to be running. You want to be getting on to this, and you will, with some very great satisfaction, go back to those councils and say, here is my proof. Listen to me now. I have the experiences, and you can share with them your journey, and they will not be able to deny it, because you have not had any imprints. You have lived the physical life.
Wow, what a noble mission. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that with me. Wow. You've impressed me about myself. I'm proud of that. Beyond belief.
Yeah. And that is part of your journey, is being able to see how noble you are and how honorable you are, and with integrity. Many of the people in your position, many of the beings in your position sent others that they trusted, and that is fine. But you were wanting to really make it that there was no doubt And so you had just had enough. And so you just said, I'm going to do this myself because you can. But it did cause some challenges, as you know. Many of the beings that you have previously brought into other sessions were not prepared to lose their role models, their leaders to this. It was concerning. And this is why you got that distraught message. With the first time that they got to speak to you in this way. And they want to come in now to say that while they were shocked that you jumped on board with this, they also could be really proud of the fact that you took your convictions and concerns so seriously that you put your money where your mouth is. Is that the right saying? It's not for us, but we hope that you understand.
Yes, that is a good analogy. I put up a lot of my own assets to support what I knew was true, it sounds like.
Yes, indeed. It's a balance though, because when one goes, when a big, we know you're uncomfortable with any of these words, so we're just going to say it anyway, and you just have to get over it. When a big leader decides to come down, it's very risky because they don't want to be vulnerable. There's so much at stake. Usually the leaders send others. And you did send others. You sent most of the first waivers. You know, there was a lot there that you organized. And so when it was just so heartbreaking to see that, and it's disturbed you so much that you wanted to do anything to be able to assist. And so while there were people pleading for you to not do this because they needed your smarts and wisdom, and of course it's not just you, it is your group. There is people that are supporting you, but your word is gold. And so this is why when he came in that first time and he was distraught, because it's a lot for him to deal with. And he misses you. But everything he does is to honor you and your path and role. And it would be the whole, he would ask and they would make sure that everything that they're doing would be to your approval. And you trusted them and that empowered them. When you trust others, it empowers them. And this was his return to you and your consciousness for you to feel while you have not full memory of any of your other bigger, busier lives. He just knew that there was a window of opportunity to tell you. He wanted to support you and encourage you and praise you, but he also wanted to give you feedback and to tell you that he's doing good. And this was part of empowering him to know that everything he's been doing is of service to you and honor of you and for humanity. And what he has learned in this role is so empowering and he is so grateful for it, but it is also a lot of responsibility. And he is so grateful for this opportunity. But he also doubted himself, and you never doubted him. And this is huge. This is huge. You have created more leaders than you ever know because of your trust in others and your faith in others and your love for others.
It's very overwhelming. I as this three-dimensional being am trying to embrace all this knowledge and praise, and I have not lived my life like that here. I do get glimpses of who I was, but they're so short. I don't get a full picture, but I get a sense that it's so big and so important. And as you explain it to me now, I know the importance, and I still try to live in the now and wait for my turn so I can rejoin my comrades. And I say it with my love, I really do.
Yes, and we know that you're still playing the game, and that's appropriate because you're still here. And we know many people are just sitting in that garden, not participating. And so this is true leadership. You're still being the leader that you are, even though you're still customizing yourself to that role.
Well, I'm hoping this role doesn't last much longer. I don't have impatience most days, but it does overwhelm me on others.
It is unnecessary for the delay, and we have said this before and we'll say it again. And it is just it is still negotiations. It is still making sure that there is not going to be any extra trauma or challenges on the way. So it is, there is urgency in some regards, because beings like yourself and many other very advanced beings who are here, who have significant roles, because you are here, this has got a lot of attention. So not only are we protecting the planet, but we're endorsing and putting energy onto the planet and to you. So there is extra protection that needs to be provided, and there is so much extra stuff. But because of who is here on this planet doing these roles, there is so much more support. And the longer it delays, the more support there is, which is a bonus, but also frustration. So this is why the planet is cranking up the energy, why we are cranking up the energy of this planet. It is not our wish for Gaia to get fed up. We're trying to support her and try to, as a balance, we are hoping humanity will do it first. So there is this, there is a lot going on. And we are dealing with many collectives who still need certain experiences for their collectives, for their future experiences. So they are still using Earth as a planet for learning and lessons and a school. So as soon as they master this and experience this, as long as it can continue on for it, the universe is going to suddenly have all these much more mastered soul essences and souls that are able to assist. Because while you are going to be focusing on a few more different planets, there is countless more other planets that need to be monitored and supported. And while there is so much energy happening and much support happening for this planet, it is taking a lot of resources, lots of energy that has been tapped from sacred crystals from around the universes have been almost depleted, because it just keeps, this is such a sick vessel that when we are sealing higher vibration energy and trying to keep it balanced, it's like we're taking energy from other resources. And this is something that many people don't consider, is you're depleting some planets of their higher vibrations. So this is, it's a cycle, it's an ongoing effect, it is rippling out effect. There is so much more than waiting for a few stubborn people to stop freaking eating worms. So we will have to just cut it off at some point, and they will have to suffer the consequences where the chips fall. We're not trying to be dramatic, but it is bigger than those people who are still stubborn.
I understand that completely. And I, knowing the bigger picture and understanding it, I hope that it is, the bleeding stops soon. It's not fair for other planets or other parts of the universe to suffer because people do not want to move forward.
Yeah. And while we say there is no good or bad, but we do say often that life isn't fair, because you can't learn from those things. You can't learn when everything's even. It has to be a disbalance. And this is just giving you more evidence to be able to go to those collectives and say what you need to say in the future to be able to be heard. So while it's frustrating for you now, it is more support for you in your future. So we want you to see that duality and understand and accept that, which we know you will, but it's just, it is good. It is all good. So we want to say that this will be a more calmer life. It's not as hectic in many reasons and ways. So this is going to be a holiday for you for the time before the shift. So enjoy that now, because there's lots going on. It's exciting. It is exciting, but think about the funnest party you've ever been to. You're so excited about it, and yet the actual event goes so quickly, you kind of miss it because you're doing so much fun things. So we're trying to talk to you as if you're a 3D human again, and we find that very funny, to motivate you with that. And we've just caught ourselves giving you a pep talk and talking about dancing, and we have distracted ourselves. We are sorry.
That's okay. I love it. I love all the openness and you sharing on a different level. It's very heartwarming, and it makes it so much more real.
Yeah, it is mind bending, especially when it is so surreal. This content, it does resonate at a higher frequency of genuineness to you. And this is the challenge between the living in the 3D and then the metaphysical perspective in life of the information we're providing for you. And we're wanting to give you this analogy that we know this vessel has said, heard before, is about the twins in the womb. And the one twin is saying to the other twin, I can't wait to be born because I'm going to meet mother. And the other twin is saying, what, do you believe in that nonsense? There is no mother. And the other twin saying, yes, there is a mother. There is a mother. I believe there is a mother here. We're in this womb and we can only see this womb and I can only see you, but I know that there is a mother. And then so the other twin says, well, where is it? Prove it. Where is she? And then the other twin says, she's all around us. And there is the analogy of people who know that after this cycle, after the birth of Gaia, you will see mother, you will see us all. And right now you're in a little cocoon of your 3D lives, and using your time wisely, we are sure.
I love that. Thank you. Is there anything else that you want us to know today?
The version of Joanne on the new earth is an energetic one. It's not a physical one. So she is there observing. And so she was concerned and not concerned, she was confused of how there was a different timeline where she's already, but timelines are already, so time is not linear. So you're picking up on her future, but it is about what's already occurring. So she is in the new earth because that's when the timeline bends and you see her in what you perceive as your current now, but it is your current now in your future as you your time linearly, even though it's not linear. So you're also on the new earth with her. You just haven't got there yet. Your conscious experience of time has not caught up with yourselves.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank
you for sharing that.
It is just like how Joanne connects in with Nostradamus, or shall we say even appropriately, how we connect Nostradamus in through the vessel. It's by picking up that consciousness and making the bend the time, because time is an illusion. So they are speaking to each other simultaneously. Just how we can experience different time as well in a different sense, even though it may feel like days or hours or weeks in between communicating with us, it really is not the same for us at all. This is why we can so fondly say, we've just told you this recently, even though it could be something. So we remember the conversations, maybe not all humans do. So There is the vehicle is saying that she does remember what we have to say. And we do understand that too. So we understand, and this is the challenge. We can talk about humanity, but then we're adding you all into the one pot, and we see you all individually. And so while we are trying to talk about most or all, it's really only a few at some times. So we understand that some people may get frustrated because we're not saying, for the 47 of you who are listening now, this is your life contract. We could, but that would be incredibly boring for all to do that. So we're constantly monitoring who is listening to these conversations as well, to be able to see who needs what information. There is significant communication. There are many people that tune in and out of these conversations, and they just pick up the most appropriate things, which is their higher selves asking us to add in certain things, which will they'll start hearing, they'll start getting ringing in their ears, and that's when they'll notice to listen a little bit more. There's so much that we give and do in these sessions, and you just think it's just one person's voice.
Should Joanne continue to make her sessions public?
We could see that there is a distraction, and that there is smaller information that will be coming up and being released that could be helpful in the future. So if she chooses to just allow the collection of videos and lessons and sessions to be as they are, that is completely her free will, and that is enough. There is enough for people to learn how to go within and to empower themselves and love themselves. We know that everything that we have said in the sessions are very powerful to help people heal themselves if they listen and follow through with our recommendations and suggestions and actually do the inner work. Listening is not doing your inner work. Loving yourself is part of the inner work. Loving and respecting everything that's ever happened to you is doing your inner work. Getting to that neutrality of accepting all of that was for experiences for you to learn and grow from, that is your inner work. And loving and accepting and being confident of yourself that you're doing the best you can while being honest, because we do know that there is a selection of some who have such big egos that they cannot be honest with themselves, and they think that they are beating the system if they just say the words. And the words are empty and have no integrity. And so they're getting more triggered and more lessons offered to them. So it is so much, there is so much that we're helping and assisting with. And those people who truly are empowering themselves with true integrity and knowing each time they are doing something that they know that their agenda is to be of service with profound unconditional love. When you are constantly seeking unconditional love from others, start giving it to yourself first, and then start giving it to others. Stop seeking stuff from other people. You are self-sufficient. You need to be self-sufficient. This is for your growth. You need this. It won't just stop when you shift. You need to have the attitude of doing things with passion is fantastic and fun and worthy. It is so worthy. When you do the work, you get the results and the rewards for you. We feel like we have said this many times, and we still mean it.
How's Joanne's body doing? She doing good?
She's constantly getting great energy from us. She has an electric body for most of her days. She is being reminded that she is profoundly connected to us as she is navigating her daily life. She does allow herself to have some conversations where she is just 3D and allows herself to process. She doesn't actually talk a lot. We know that people constantly hear her talking in these sessions, but the true state of her day when she is not in sessions, she doesn't actually talk because she is all going within. So when she does reach out to others, it is because she's trying to do support for them and help them to be able to either be triggered to learn from or to support and grow from. Um, she really doesn't do much for self, and it's starting to wear on her as she's noticing that there is a little bit more inner work she needs to do, a little bit more empowerment. She needs to fine tune confidence within her. What is the words that we want to articulate for her? The confidence that she has within herself to trust that she's not missing vital information, her responsibility of getting the most appropriate information for these sessions weighs on her. And she has suddenly reflected back on how she is still taking this work seriously, but her casual approach to just talking to us, she thinks that sometimes she's been a bit more relaxed than she should be. And we say, we're not business people, we're not in suits, and this isn't a corporation that is trying to sell you a mortgage. We're actually very casual ourselves with our approach, and this is why we can make you laugh, and this is why we can inspire you to be goofy and have fun, because we are more grounded than most humans with our casualness and acceptance of everything. Humans are too uptight. You can see it in all their tension in their bodies. And so her body is doing fine. There was a while ago where she was putting too much strain and pressure on herself. That was the concern of the book and the information in the book. And she could really relieve herself when Dolores came in to say to her that it would not be complete. It doesn't need to be complete. And we want to tell Joanne now that the sessions that she shares publicly do not need to be complete either. It was never meant to be complete. It was simply a guide to be able to inspire people to be able to go within and to be able to connect to themselves and have the encouragement and support. And they can see and sense that Joanne is just an ordinary person as well, and they can relate to her in many ways. And so they can accept that if she can do this work, they can too. If she can love herself with all of her challenges, they can too. She is a role model in many ways because her life has also been very challenging, but she doesn't talk about it because she is mostly healed from it. She just needs to feel those emotions of those times where she has been profoundly lonely in the past and isolated from others. And so there is lots of smaller fine tuning things that we can do and provide for her. And she has been having many opportunities to be able to do that, to learn from and to grow from and experience it. She is very masterful now at holding onto emotions, experiencing them, owning them, taking responsibility, being accountable for them, and then instantly at the same time, all unpacking it and folding it perfectly. We say she doesn't even do that with her laundry, but she can do that with her emotional challenges quite easily now.
She's a wonderful person. Oh my, I respect her greatly. I was wondering if Nostradamus was available to come in and add any of his thoughts to this session as well.
Yes, absolutely. And he was wanting to come in because he wanted to explain that the convoluted information about the timelines does seem very strange. And he was also struggling with it himself because he could see so much challenges that he was afraid of. But he was hearing from Dolores's reports that these future events were being shifted. And now he wants to say that he is more interested in connecting and hearing more about our way of life and the experiences, and to explain to him about the crimes against humanity and all of these, the way it all went, because he could see the doom and the chaos, but he couldn't see all of the unique intricacies. No, there's a word he's trying to say.
Intricacies?
Yes, it's that increase that they will not. It is. He is trying to say that the details of all of the bigger visions he got He was not seeing how to get there, what all the smaller details were. And so he did know that there was many timeline opportunities and situations, and he did know and see that things had changed as he was getting the information and being provided it. He did not get to see the happy stories. He did not get to see the positive timelines. This is why he is so interested in the timelines. This is why he still keeps tapping into Joanne, and she senses him, especially when she thinks about him. He is just literally, yes, hello, I'm here, waiting for her to come in. And she does not mind, because he's not I'm not a creepy perv, he just said, but he wants to be able to learn more and understand it while he can tap in. And so it's his curiosity. He needs to have the faith as well and the hope that all his work is still motivational to keep doing it. And when he was asked, well, now that you know this timeline's successful, won't you give up? He said, never, never, because his work got to those places, to that positive timeline. He was one of many. He did not want to give up in case something else changed. He had to be that messenger of warning to be able to influence people to change. And this was his gift to humanity. He had to be so far in the distance to be held accountable and credible at the same time, while still giving a riddle to still provide information that was still going to last the time. So much of people's messages have been taken away and hidden. And so many people have spent their whole lives trying to get this information out. This has been lifetimes missions of failed attempts to be able to get this truth out. This has killed people. This has caused so much carnage and destruction and control, as the truth has been fiercely protected from you. They have protected you from the truth because they don't want you to have the truth. Because if you knew the truth, you would not be controlled and manipulated. Their agenda was very self-serving. And it has taken so many people to be able to try and get keys and information out to humanity. And this is a significant time when we are here talking directly to you. So this is big signs, big obvious signs that things are changing for the good.
Thank you for that. Is that why there have been so many bigger beings joining the crusade on Earth to dig out the truth, to present it to everyone?
It just got so corrupted and needed all the support. We threw everything we could at it because it was just too impactful, just too powerful. We wanted to. So the consciousness of Gaia and her vehicle, her vessel is one being that we focus on, but the collective of humanity is another important factor in this. And when you have a society of humanity that is so fractured like it is, this is a great concern. While you are all split up into different starseed systems and collectives, the group that you are all forming, you will always be from Earth. You will always be the starseeds from X, Y, and Z systems who have done those roles, and you have been on Earth. This is part of your extensions of selves. This is who you are. Our concern was to keep protection of the human collective, all of the beings who are here, to be able to not have you all be twisted into madness and broken. We still want you to have valid experiences that were opportunities for growth. And when you have already bigger beings here and they were getting stuck, we needed much more help. And so this was very purposeful. So you all get these experiences of challenges but the rewards for many universes is significant. It is very important, but we know that the word important is meaningless to the scale of actually what is happening.
I'm hoping and I'm seeing that we're on the right path and still on a great course to accomplish all the goals set forth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. You're really referring to if we're on the right timeline. And we say that really there is only one timeline for Gaia. And you are all different experiences of information from the different timelines that you all are in. Because we see that there is a variety of timelines of people experiencing different things while still being on this vehicle. That is the one consistent. And so it is, everyone is working around their timelines and experiences around that physicality. Because this is a physical 3D world, and so there is significance to the vehicle you're on. And if you can imagine she is going to break down soon, you need to find another alternative to get home.
That should get people's butts in gear, knowing that.
Yes, but it also will add, it's a fine line. Do we pull everyone awake and tell them, okay, this is, game over, we need to evacuate, or do we still allow people to have these experiences for opportunities for growth? And as we said, for your purpose, the more carnage and harder it is for humanity, this is going to be a great thing for you to be able to present to all the other collectives. There's so many balances between what is appropriate and what is too much strain. So at one point, we will all decide that this needs to end. So we are raising the vibration. We are encouraging people to be responsible for their own vibration, to hold on to that high vibration, even if everything we've ever said to you is a shit out of you. Just find your joy, and you will be a part of the solution rather than the problem. It's the people that are afraid of what we're telling them could be the truth that's holding them down and not helping the vibration. So if everything else in your life is terrible and you're feeling very overwhelmed, then don't focus on it then. Focus on something that makes you happy. And it may just be one thing, it may just be one little flower, it may be just one little color, it may be just one little thing that you just want to focus happiness on. And that's it. It doesn't have to be happiness in a bigger scale. You know the range of emotions, and you can find happiness in the smallest of things, and that can shift your vibration. So for those people who think that inner work is this university level complicated mathematical equation of challenges, it really isn't that complicated. You're just excusing yourself to just be happy. And if you are struggling with loving yourself, all of you agree and can provide happiness for yourself. So find that one thing that gives you happiness.
Beautifully said. I can think of a dozen things that make me happy, and just the image of them in my mind raises my vibrations. It is simple.
Yeah. And sometimes people like to link the smell of things as a happy feeling. It may be a cup of tea, it may be a flower, it may be cut grass, whatever you want to link in. Use all of your senses, because if your mind is not allowing you to be happy because you want to wear grumpy pants, then think of something else that can give you joy. Is it a smell, or is it a song? So think of all the other senses that you can be using. It's not just your mind, because sometimes your mind is so out of control. It is blocking you from even allowing yourself to have a smile. Humor is fantastic. Comedy is something we have really wanted humanity to really embrace. And there is nothing wrong with a potty mouth, we say. We've added into the vessel because she is a little potty mouth. You would say she's a little sailor, but it is about the passion of the words and what she feels when she's talking. She wants to really accentuate those words, and she never feels that that's how she feels enough with words. So when she is in her joy, she is a little swearer.
I do that myself. I find freedom in them kind of words.
Mm. And this is what you all want to be focusing on: freedom, happiness, joy, all those fun things. All those fun things that are free, that there is no excuses for you not to find. And this is about enjoyment. Life is to be enjoyed and not worried about, trusting that nothing is in your control apart from your emotions and what you do with your body and how you treat others. It's really that simple. Don't make it complicated. And we know you don't, but we know that there is guidance here for many.
Yes, but I also need the reminders. It is great to have them. Sometimes we get stuck in a daily routine, or there's influences on the outside that can bum you out, drag you down, and it's hard to shake. So I even need those reminders. So I thank you.
And when you are feeling that bummed out, feeling of down, this is an opportunity for you to learn from. It's usually when your boundaries have been crossed, or your boundaries have been not fenced. You have let your own boundaries down for whatever reasons. Sometimes we have lack of boundaries for people we love the most, because we want to support and nurture them. And so this is applicable to most people. And it is fine to have love with boundaries. It's actually it's actually our recommendation, because the more you have boundaries of yourself, the more you can just love yourself and empower yourself. And once you have got that full empowerment and love of self, you don't need the boundaries because you're unbreakable.
I can clearly see that. And I can also see that type of empowerment and love for yourself being a great role model and an influence to the ones around you, and they will grow with you.
Yes, absolutely. The feeling of pride and joy and accomplishment, being that role model, gives you great joy, is your happiness. Being a good person is happy. You do become happy for yourself because you are a good person. And so it's just reevaluating everything that is happening around you. Don't get distracted by routines. That is entrapment.
That is amazing. Yes. I thank you for everything that you shared with us today. If you have anything more to share or inform Joanna or me about, that would be awesome. But other than that, I have no more questions for you today.
Absolutely. We were very happy to come in, and we're glad that we could get the other information for you that you were seeking. We also know that people are impatient. And so when they start listening to the sessions and it just sounds like a whole lot of muddle, they will give up and move on. So the time that we did start giving you the higher information was the time that people had given up listening. And so we do this intentionally. We don't want to exclude others, but we know that whatever rate you're at, whether you're open for the bigger information or whether you are just looking for gossip, that point in the moment in time of that session, those people would have left.
I find a lot of humor in that. But it's very intelligent.
We like to think we are. Compared to the humans, we definitely feel like we have got it going on. And it's not to belittle you, but that's to empower ourselves, because we know our responsibilities are so great. You rely on us so much. for your protection and guidance and wisdom and support. So we want to be the higher advanced beings for you. It would be a crime if we were not doing our jobs properly, and we are of service. And we say this with much love.